you doing? Thanks for joining us for our debate night, Wednesday night of campaign. It's good to see you all. We got our 3 President VP tickets up here, as well as our lone Senate chair candidate up in front. Pretty excited. So, what you guys have in front of you is a note card and hopefully a golf pencil. That is for the Q&A portion, which will be in about probably half an hour, 40 minutes. Austin and myself have created 6 questions we're going to be asking the candidates. The first question is a 3-minute question, and the other 5 are going to be a 2-minute response time question for each of the tickets. At the 30-second mark, Austin Smith is going to be keeping time back there. He will put up his hand, so you guys will know that you have 30 seconds left to start to wrap it up at that point if you need the full allotted time. And Lauren, you're going to kick us off. Because she's running unopposed, she's just going to answer the first question, and the rest are going to be for the other President VP tickets. So does that make sense? Anybody have any questions before we get started? Hope you're excited. Okay, we'll get right into this. We're going to alternate the order each time we go through the questions for the President VP tickets. So starting off, our 3-minute question, our first question of the night, explain your platform. Lauren, I'll pass you my microphone.
Hi guys, I'm Lauren and I'm running for Senate Chair. And my platform is based on commitment, community, and collaboration. So I'm committed to ASG, it's my first priority. As for collaboration, I really want to work within our committees and not just be bound by that. And I also want to work within branches as well. And then for community, I want to expand to the community of our RSOs, our neighborhood, and everything. So thanks, vote for me. Have a great day, guys.
All right, and kicking us off with the President VP ticket, we're going to have Anizzi Tolentino and Patrick McDonald. 3 minutes, guys.
Okay, so our platform is based on also 3 words: connect, illuminate, and empower. I'll take you through our ideas under the connect umbrella or ideal that we have. First of all, we would love to connect students together with what ASG is doing through an ASG newsletter. Ideally, magazine style, something physical so that students will know what ASG is doing at any given time. Spotlight some of the projects and things that ASG is doing on behalf of the student body, and highlight things that are coming in the future. We'd also like to help with the implementation of a university master calendar that would show all of the on-campus programming on any given day, and even going beyond that, find ways that we can unify advertising in a greater way so that every organization doesn't have its own disparate way of getting the word out for its own events. Furthermore, we would love to connect our on-campus community with and off-campus residents with those that live off-campus permanently through some sort of meet and greet program in which both populations would be able to put a face on each other and hopefully start a dialogue that would lead to some much warmer and more respectful working relationship.
The concept behind our Illuminate aspect of our platform goes with the idea that there are an incredible amount of people and departments and offices that exist on our campus that students are very much not aware of. And it would be to the great benefit of both students and these departments if there was an actual dialogue between them. So in that sense, we would like to illuminate these departments on campus, as well as illuminate the off-campus community. Illuminating on-campus departments by having meet and greets with the financial aid office 1 week, and then a couple weeks later maybe a meet and greet with the sustainability office. The role of ASG is to be the liaison between both departments, or the students and the departments, but we want the students themselves to have these dialogues. And then in regards to the off-campus community, just start a conversation where it's really you're talking to your neighbors.
Finally, for empower, we would love to increase, first of all, we believe in empowering the voices and ideas of the student body. We think that's a primary role of ASG, is to be an advocate for the student body. We'd like to increase senator visibility in the means by which senators go out to the community and talk to their...
Cut you guys off, sorry about that.
You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
get senators to be working on behalf of their constituents, find out what great ideas exist in the community, and find out how to put tangible project ideas behind that, and also have quarterly town hall meetings with ASG exec just to figure out what the ideas are in the student body and put tangible action behind them. Thank you.
Sorry about cutting you guys off. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Time as well here. All right, next up we have Frankie Bastone and Eric Valley. 3 minutes, guys. Explain your platform.
All right, I see some new faces here. So my name is Frankie Bastone. This is Eric Valley, as in Vice President of the Presidential Team. I'm the current Vice President of Community Development. Eric is the current Director of APD. I want to start off with a little quote from Dolly Parton. If your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are all excellent leaders.
So just to dive right into our platform, I'm sure you've seen the 3 I's. So the first one is innovate, and as we kind of touched on and meet the candidates, we're really going off of these direct definitions, so making changes in something established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas, and products. So really taking a look at what's already existing in ASG. I think we have really great student leaders here on campus, and so with that, we want to innovate what's already there, just make it fresh, make it new. So innovating our existing brand visibility and serving the atypical student who isn't traditionally involved in student leadership. And getting these new spots on ASG, so reaching out to people who maybe typically wouldn't be on ASG, who don't really know the function of ASG. There's a lot of people, surprisingly, that don't know that there's like an election going on this week, so it's important to kind of like keep innovating how we connect with people and get them included in leadership. So ignite to catch fire, or cause to catch fire. So this is more about cultivating personal passions and causes and giving people the space to achieve what they want to plan, what they want to program. I have a very programming heavy background with activities programming board, and so I'm really passionate about giving people the space to be able to plan an event that they think would be successful, and giving them that advocacy for themselves to empower them to know what's important to them and be able to spread it to the community.
And then last vision that we have is impact. It's having a strong effect on someone or something. And 3 bullet points we'll touch on more later. But first is starting your alumni focus early in relations with alumni. We do a lot of senior stuff, and Springsgiving has given those strides, thinking with alumni, recognizing their gifts that they're given. But kind of that's the starting block of what we need to do for the next year. Improving our daily student experience, and then going out into the greater community to serve, to work, to listen, and to lead. And those 3 I's are visions for ASG and the greater community for the next year. So it'll be Santa Clara's C and I's. Classes. But that is our platform.
Next up we have Paula Regali and Nick Reed. Explain your platform.
All right, so my name, as Ryan said, is Paula Regali, and my running mate Nick Reed and I are running on a platform of Unite SCU, collaborate and innovate. So the first part of that, collaborate, we'd like to break down some barriers and build a one community of Broncos. So at Santa Clara we have numerous great resources, but sometimes the clubs are either unaware that other clubs exist with that resource already, or have the ability to do something. So we would like to put those clubs in contact with one another, and as a governing body, the students would like to really facilitate that. And something that Pat touched on, so I guess great minds think alike, we'd like to continue conversations about the master calendar. So make something electronic that you can go online, see that it's 6 o'clock tonight on a Wednesday, what can you do? There's the debate or other things going on, something super simple. A lot of schools have it. We live in the Silicon Valley, it can't be that difficult. Another thing that we would like to do is create forums, so give the clubs more personal contact with ASG and other students who maybe aren't involved in the club or who are afraid to approach a club. Give them personal contact with those clubs and the execs in those clubs. So one of the things that we think can unify the Santa Clara student body is a school spirit. Just because we don't have a football team does not mean that Santa Clara Broncos can't be proud of our sports. So we'd like to introduce the idea of a pep rally at Santa Clara. You know, we didn't come up with this novel idea of a pep rally. Many schools are doing it, and it's awesome. But welcome weekend pep rally, and then pep rallies for 4 big games on the swing lawn. It's a central part of campus. You can't really ignore it. So get the pep band out there, some notable alums who played on our sports teams, some of our sports captains, make them visible to the student body and get Santa Clara Broncos really excited about our sports teams.
So I'd just like to take a couple minutes, and/or by a minute, I mean 1 minute. Just talking about Innovate, which is the second part of our platform. I'm sure many of you in this room have felt very stressed before. I know that I have. I feel stressed right now. And part of Innovate is to create a way for students to reduce stress levels and kind of get away from Santa Clara without actually leaving Santa Clara. So we would really like to join collaboration and innovation together so that we can think of a way to relieve stress and innovate a way to relieve stress. I'd also really like to talk about the most important part of our Innovate platform, and that is adding a student touch to the Santa Clara campus. And the big idea I threw around at the campus Meet the Candidates night was a student-led mural on the backside of the library, and as Austin counts down. And this would be just a great way to break barriers between class levels and join in and add a student touch to the campus.
Thank you very much, Paulette and Nick. The next 5 questions that will be asked are each 2-minute response times. Just keep that in mind, guys. And Frankie and Erica, you're going to be kicking us off. The question is, why are you passionate about holding the position you are campaigning for? 2 minutes, guys. Frankie and Erica.
So, many of you know that I have no ASG experience, but my past 2 years of experience in APB and in APB leadership and with CSL and all of my work there has really made me very passionate about developing leaders on our campus and finding leaders in places that maybe or cultivating leaders that maybe don't typically know that they're leaders, and empowering those people. And so I think as vice president and Frankie's partner on our team, it gives me the ability to help advocate for those people and to give people the chance to make their causes known on our campus.
And in other words, Erica, for me, is a role model and an open door for anyone in our community, because it gives those that aren't involved that opportunity to get involved and join ASG and input their ideas to every facet of campus. And the other thing that is nice about Erica not having it, she has that fresh experience of not being on ASG, so she has a background separate, still in the same entity, same building on campus, but a totally different focus where she can pull from her different own experiences and really relaying it into my foundation on ASG and really incorporating together new ideas to innovate and ignite our students that we touch. And that is all I'm going to say for that for now.
All right. Moving right along to Paulette and Nick. 2 minutes.
All right, so I've served on ASG for the past 2.5 years of my time at Santa Clara, and ASG is an organization that is near and dear to my heart. They have a ton of resources and are very capable of making a difference in everyone's time here at Santa Clara. Santa Clara, I'm a firm believer in the saying, it's a great day to be a Bronco. We are very fortunate to go to such a beautiful school, and in this time of transition, as the school expands, accepts more students, and plans to build, I think that I have the leadership ability and the creativity to really help the students direct our Santa Clara future in the right direction.
This is actually a question I've been dreaming about. And, I could sit up here and tell you about my qualifications, what I've done around campus, my friend groups, but I'd actually like to tell you a different story. And I actually almost got kicked out of Santa Clara for academic reasons after my freshman year, and I almost didn't come back. And that is the reason why I fully believe in Santa Clara, is because Santa Clara fully believed in me. I got a second chance to come back, and I did a bunch of great things, and I got great grades. But why I'm so passionate around for this position is because if the school believes in me that much, then I owe the school so much more tenfold. And that's why I believe in the school so much, and that's why I believe in running for vice president, because I believe that there are other kids out there, maybe in my situation or not. And yeah, I just love Santa Clara, to be honest. Whatever position I have on Santa, I love Santa Clara, that's why I'm running.
Thank you, Paulette.
Running for president, it's been a long process of deciding how we're going to do this campaign and how we've come to this day and this exact moment. But my current position as Senate Chair on ASG has given me the opportunity to communicate and be able to work with a large portion of ASG, but as well serve on the exec board. And I think having that experience where I've seen a lot of the internal organization and how it works and the many challenges it has to overcome, that's given me a lot of insight. And then just to be surrounded, I love exec meetings, and I love Senate meetings, I love exec meetings, I have a lot of organizational crushes where I love the idea of Broncos coming together to do something that they're passionate about. And for me, that's been ASG. And I think that having been on ASG for 2 years, I've really seen the growth and the ability of ASG to be so great. And I think just one more year on ASG would allow us the opportunity to really maximize this organization as a vehicle for real change, for students to really join us in this movement. So.
For me, and I think all of us proud Broncos up here would agree that the place you start is with love for Santa Clara, which is something we all have in spades. And AZ and I have experience within the organization of ASG specifically, and the profound experience of having been able to enact positive change through this organization that we love. For me specifically, the reason I'm running for vice president, one thing I'm super excited about is the organizational development part, figuring out how to make the people that work on your behalf on ASG make sure they're at their best in every facet so they can work hard to represent you and your interests.
All right. Thank you, Nancy Beth. Next question, will also be 2 minutes. And starting us off will be Paulette. What is one thing you would like to see change on campus? If you can narrow it down to one thing. 2 minutes, guys.
Well, I think this is a tough question, and as it is one thing that we would like to change on campus, I think it really stems back to the collaboration aspect. I'd like to see all of the clubs work together. I'd like to see students work smarter and not harder. We're all very intelligent, that's how we got here. But like I mentioned in my opening statement about resources, I think that it would be awesome to see more clubs working together in a collaborative manner and really uniting as Broncos instead of as individual clubs.
I think that on campus, I'd like to see the biggest change in, I'm going to just call it Bronco Fire. Bronco Fire is this concept where every Bronco is on fire about completing one project per year, one concrete project that benefits the school or the surrounding community. And I think that right now Santa Clara, as much as I love it, is really lacking one very concrete objective for all 4 classes, besides the 3 C's, besides Jesuit education and philosophy. So I think I'd like to see a change in student engagement, and I know that that will take time and a lot of effort, but I think that if we put out a solid object for us and goal to complete, that we can change that.
Thank you, Paula and Nick. Moving right along to Amazing Pat, 2 minutes.
One of our greatest problems, and Colette touched upon this, is the idea that we have so many opportunities to get involved on campus, and students just don't know, or they're not passionate, or they're not involved. And so being in this room where all of us, or most of us, are proud Broncos, love participating in other organizations' events, love our own events, getting students in that mindset would be the biggest problem, or the biggest concern that we'd like to tackle in this position. So really igniting that fire in all of other Santa Clara Broncos, because if we have that same passion and that same excitement about our school and everything that we can do, it definitely exists in all other students.
And I also would agree that I think the lack of collaboration that organizations have on Santa Clara is our biggest problem, which I think actually indicates an immense amount of Santa Clara spirit, that everyone wants to do something to make this community a better place. But we often have 5 events when we could have one just great event. And so we'd like to figure out ways in which ASG can be a facilitator in helping organizations work together. Tangible things in our platform that we think could help realize that would be the master calendar idea, which both I and Paulette have mentioned, and then also looking at ways that we can unify advertising so that students and student organizations know what other groups are doing and can plan to collaborate and work together and make events, programming, whatever, even better through working together in collaboration than we would if we all exist on islands in this campus. Thank you.
And Frankie and Erica, 2 minutes, guys.
So as both of the other tickets kind of touched on, I think we up here come to the table with a degree of bias because we're right at the forefront of all of these great initiatives going on at our school. We are all very informed about it because we want to be, and so I think just continuing to eliminate that bias and including the different perspectives, and just increasing the idea of diversity in leadership and making sure that there's representation from every part and every corner of our school. I think that's the one issue I would.
And then for myself, a lot of it is based on vision, especially vision for ASG. And if Erica and our vision of our 3 I's and our whole SPOT, and I'm announced that now, SPOT stands for Service Planning, Organization, and Traditions, and that's a lot of internal focus of ASG. So if each ASG member has those visions, they do have a backbone for what's going to happen for that year, and they can translate that into their work and their impact on campus. So if all of ASG takes that, they can make an impact, make those smiles, make those smiles that happen every day, which is something that's most rewarding for myself. An example, last night we just did senior night, and right at the end, the seniors were going 4 more years, 4 more years. And I want that to happen to every class, and have 4 more years, 3 more years, 2 more years, but everyone realized they were Bronco for the rest of their life.
Thank you, Frankie and Erica. Before we move on to the next question, if you have written down a question on your note card, you'd like to have that asked, please pass that back to this back right table right here. If not, totally okay. We're going to ask again. Let's take a second, pass it back that way, and the judicial branch back there is going to screen through those when I ask those all day. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along, another 2-minute question, and Maisie and Pat, you're going to be starting us off on this one. What is your ultimate goal for your time in office?
Well, I think our ultimate goal is really just encapsulated by our platform to connect, illuminate, and empower. But I think in particular, the idea of making sure that ASG is the body which represents the interests and concerns of the students, and working with students to understand what those interests and concerns are, being able to pool those ideas, put the action behind them that is needed to make change. We realize that There are, well over 5,000 students here. Every single one probably has a great idea on how to change this campus. It's a matter of finding out what all of those ideas are, bringing them together, figuring out how we can put force behind those ideas, and try to have a dialogue that may lead to enacting some of those changes.
The 6 of us are here because we know that ASG is so capable of doing incredible things, but I think the ultimate goal is that the rest of the school knows that this organization is capable of doing great things as well. And so our role, the role of the organization, is to be the liaison, be the communicator between students and administration, and then between ASG and administration. And we really want to just represent the voices of these students in a way that lets them know that students themselves have the ability to create impactful change on this campus.
All right, thank you, Nancy and Pat. Frank and Erica, you have 2 minutes.
Great. I think our ultimate goal is what makes us unique and distinct from the other tickets that are running with us. Our experiences on our own and together, combining those, really give us a deep understanding of the university and the administration, which gives us the ability to have those relationships and get our platform integrated into campus. Our platform is organized in the sense that it's accessible to students and you can connect to it, and the platform goals are very clear. We're not just saying, oh, we want more spirit at school, we want to have that kind of sense of more belonging to everything that's happening. We have details and the concrete goals and having them well defined, and then also having them prepared to work out the issues that are presented in the upcoming year that will be arise. And because we have a goal framework, it gives us room to expand our goals and our visions for ASG and the broader Santa Clara community.
I think just to add on to that too, I think if we can come out of this year and have people, next year if there's an election with like 7 tickets and people really feeling like they too can sit up here and do this, then I think we've achieved our ultimate goal, which is just to have more people feel like they want to get involved and more people, more voices, more people sitting up here, though that might not be good for time constraints. But yeah, hopefully we walk away from it with that too.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to Paulette and Nick. 2 minutes, guys.
So ultimate goal for next year, I'd say our ultimate goal would probably be to raise the roof, or more dramatically, get rid of the roof. So if you've heard, our slogan is Broncos hooked and hooked, we'll raise the roof. I want every student at Santa Clara to feel like nothing is impossible, that Santa Clara can incorporate it all. So if you come really passionate about something from high school, I want students as freshmen to be able to come to ASG, voice their idea, and tell us about your passion, and exceed all expectations and set the bar higher, and just keep growing as a university, growing as a student body to do what the students are really invested in.
I think most importantly, I want to, Paulette and I both want to foster a community where people believe in themselves. I'm tired of walking around on campus and hearing students say, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. And it's honestly exhausting to hear that, because I believe so much in my fellow students that I know that they can do that. And so I want to foster a community where people feel limitless, and that is why we chose to say we'll raise the roof, because I want to feel limitless. I want everyone else here to feel limitless at Santa Clara. We pay a lot of money to go to this school. We put a lot of time in our studies. We put a lot of time in extracurriculars. And there's no reason why all of that shouldn't pay off and shouldn't be shared with everybody else. So yeah, I'm just basically here to start a revolution, I guess.
All right, next up we have another 2-minute question. And Frank and Erica, you guys are going to be kicking us off. Question is, if elected, what is your strategy for leading a team of leaders? as the head of an executive cabinet?
So I think something I'm really proud of walking away from APB this year is the cohesiveness of the teams that I've been on with APB. I've made some of my best friends on both of those teams who are in the audience right now, and I think that's something that you develop from having that team dynamic, that you really are all just sitting around the same circle and you're all on the same level. There's no like power structure there, and I've had great leaders who've shown me that. Josh Reinha, Alyssa Novak, my advisor. I think there's so much of that to role model off of here. That's really where it comes from, and just knowing that everyone brings something different to the table and understanding those biases right away. So that's one thing I think I would.
And then mine, touching on that, there's kind of a purpose and a mission behind Erica and myself in this position, and those 5 words are cultivate, help, advise, and assist, and serve. It's a lot of us kind of taking the vice out of vice president. We're both running for the same position to really have an impact on ASG. And my way of leading is different than everyone else up here, and everyone else is different from each other. But regardless, my way of doing it is not micromanaging. I give kind of what I would like to see, kind of the vision again of what I want ASG to kind of encompass and translate to the community, and giving ASG their own space within the roles that they got elected for or campaigned for and got chosen to be on, and really kind of developing their own sense of what that is.
All right, thank you, Frankie and Eric. All right, Paulette and Nick, 2 minutes.
Growing up, my dad would tell me that a good leader knows when to follow. So as a leader and if elected the leader of student government, it's important to me that I keep an open mind. I grew up with 5 siblings, and as the second oldest, there's a natural hierarchy where the 4 younger ones feel as if they're, supposed to listen to me, and I love that, or they have to listen to me. As with time, they grew to realize that they had a voice too and an opinion, and they could speak up. And I think it's similar in a leadership role and in a student government, where people who are maybe freshman senators and feel like they're the newest ones need to be welcome, need to be told that they have a voice. And as one of so many siblings, I have become a very good listener, and so open-minded and a great listener, and that is, I think, what's very important with working with other leaders and people with such great ideas.
So I actually grew up living in a car, not literally, but I am the youngest of 4 children, and I would often go with my mom to take all my siblings to football practice, baseball, guitar lessons, whatever. But I think that really forced me to be very observant, and so I would say that my leadership strategy is of observation, is to first assess, act, and then delegate. My dad was a firefighter and a fire chief for 30 years, so I grew up in a firehouse also, and I was around everyday heroes. Every single day I was around heroes, and I was around different chiefs. And I think that being a leader starts with being a hero and recognizing everyone else around you as a hero and a heroine. So, yeah, right on.
Thank you. All right, amazing impact, 2 minutes.
So insofar as leading a team of leaders, which ASG undoubtedly is, fortunately Daisy and I both have experience within ASG, and so we understand how that dynamic works out. You have such a variety of people with different backgrounds and different goals for the future. Trying to unite them to a common purpose is a challenge, but one that we're excited to take on. For me specifically as Vice President and the organizational development aspect of that job, I'm very excited. I think that we need to evaluate everyone's strengths prior to putting them into certain positions. positions within like Senate so that we can make sure that we form really great teams. And we need to have constant reevaluation of what our goals are and make sure that those goals are reasonable and measurable so that every now and again we can come back, see if we're meeting those goals, see if we're adequately, in fact superbly representing the interests and ideas of the students on campus, and to see the tangible change from that, and then see where we're going to go in the future.
For me, the idea of a true leader is somebody who has the ability to really inspire that leadership in others. Because you can't, there's no such thing as, it has to be a team effort in the sense that everyone has to know why they're on this team and what they're capable of doing for this team and with this team. Absolutely love the quote, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I think that's a true definition of a team and the true goal of a real leader. So that's my personal philosophy in making sure that everyone knows that they are part of this team and that they have a reason to be there.
All right, guys. Thank you, Nancy. I know some people have just been trickling in. Would anybody like a note card and a pencil? Write a question, ask a question. Perfect. If you've already written down a question and would like it screened to be read up here, please pass that over to Austin Smith. He's doing so right now. I got a couple up here right now that I'd like to do it. So please get those. All right, guys, the next 2-minute question. I think this is the last of the 2-minute questions that Austin and I have devised. And Paulette and Nick are going to be starting us off. What is your greatest strength as a pair? Where can your synergy be found? So synergy is basically 1 + 1 is greater than 2. So tell us about your synergy and your greatest strength as a pair. You have 2 minutes.
In the talks before deciding to run, Nick and I were discussing this question or this idea of what made us a pair, what made us work well together. I'd say that we're both pretty fun people, but Nick is much more fun than I am. I am definitely a rule follower, very, I guess, rigid when it comes to schoolwork and ASG work. And Nick keeps me fun, and Nick keeps me thinking outside the box. So he keeps me reaching for that limitless potential and aspiring to be great and do great things, and that energy is contagious. So working together, I think we complement each other well in that respect.
So I think that as a pair, we're both very personable people and good faces for Santa Clara. I mean, I didn't shave my face, I'm wearing earrings, and I'm the only one up here not wearing a jacket or a vest. So I just, I believe in doing your own thing, and I think that Paulette really fosters that, and I think she believes in voicing her opinion very often. And I really like that, and I really appreciate that, and I think we both ground each other, and our synergy is honestly energy-based and getting energy off of other people who inspire us and tell us their ideas, and that we're both one of many siblings. I think makes us great listeners and always makes us listen to each other, especially, most importantly.
Easy and Pat, you have 2 minutes.
I truly believe that Pat and I are so incredibly compatible. It's been a whole rush of a last, I don't even know, when we decided to run. It's probably been 17 days where I've seen Pat more than I've seen my own home type thing, where we've just been so excited to work together and just plan this whole thing out and plan our vision for next year. But I think what really brings us together is the idea, when I personally was deciding to run, I looked back on my last 2 years, most especially my last year on ASG as Senate Chair, and it was one of the most growing experiences in that it really humbles you and tells you what really you can improve upon and where you have not necessarily failed, because what people consider failure is really actually just an area of improvement. And I think what I found in Pat is that even in this last 17 days with him, I've learned how I can improve myself and how I can improve my own perspective on things.
To build off of that, I think Anazi and I are a perfect combination. I think we have very much complementary strengths. Anazi is electric, energetic, personal. She's a great face for an organization. She loves interacting with people. If you haven't seen her out there campaigning, it's a thing of beauty. You just have to be witness to it. Me, I'm much more business-like. I like smaller groups. I'm kind of an ideas man. And so, if you see me out on the campaign trail, hopefully it's just one of you at a time, right? But I think that those strengths really complement each other well and make us an extremely strong pair, and one that's excited at the opportunity to possibly lead you next year.
So, like the other tickets, I also think Frankie and I complement each other very well by way of experience and by personality. So, just as far as experience, I really appreciate that Frankie loves ASG so much. That's apparent, I think, to anyone that knows him, is that he would live and die by this organization. He loves it. And I definitely feed off that energy, and I think I come in with some experience, and I'm really, really excited about the possibility of getting involved with an organization like ASG. And then in terms of personality, I appreciate that Frankie's able to say the hard things sometimes and make the difficult decisions. That's not easy to do in a position of leadership, and I appreciate that he's honest and candid about things that sometimes are difficult to talk about. And that's really, I think, an important thing for a leader to have. So I appreciate that.
And then just to kind of wrap up this question, I'm kind of like a big kid when it comes to leadership. I have a lot of fun when I'm doing it, and I look like I'm goofy, I'm crazy, but stuff gets done. I sit on the other side of the wall of her and I'm throwing stuff over constantly at her. But I know both of us are getting stuff done at the same time. I worked with her over the summer. She screamed at me. We pulled gray hairs out of each other. We just have a lot of experience. We wore spandex together at socials. We just have a lot of experience working with each other, and day in, day out, every day, and a lot of our leadership styles do kind of converge with each other, and we can really relay that to everyone else that we are leading.
All right, guys, thank you. We have a few questions from the audience that we're going to ask. To reiterate, each of these questions is going to be 2-minute response time.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Oh, yes. Any candidates have questions? Any questions down there? Yeah.
So we have 2 minutes for this.
Gets a second.
So a couple big words.
We'll probably ask 3 total. Once you get 2 minutes. Kicking us off for this next question will be Anazi and Pat. First question from the audience. Because we don't have it up here, I will read it each time before the 2 minutes starts. What do you think the biggest barrier would be to implementing your ideas? And how would you overcome that barrier? Anazi and Pat, you have 2 minutes.
I think one of the biggest barriers in achieving any project is making sure that it's well planned out. And so what we love the tagline, ambitious vision with tangible action. So that's really the idea behind our platform and the idea behind how we feel we would run as leaders. Because the way it has to work is that you have to have that vision and you have to be able to see it through, because then it wouldn't affect whatever change you want to see.
I agree. I think that it's difficult to get anything done when people aren't united by a common purpose. And I think it happens on ASG sometimes. People get really excited, and then schoolwork comes, midterms come, people start to get burned out. And so something that I think that we should do as leaders within the organization is to constantly be evaluating where we are as an organization to ensure that we're always working hard, that our goals are still inspiring to us, they're still motivating to us, to ensure that we're always at our best and willing to work hard for the betterment of the community that we love.
Thank you for the question again. What do you think is the biggest barrier that would be to implementing your ideas, and how would you overcome that barrier? 2 minutes.
I think this is across campus, kind of a problem that has also spurred this year as well. We don't hear a lot about it, but it is our diversity on campus and how a lot of our organizations do celebrate their own diversity. And for us, we really want to focus on that diversity being a part of engagement on campus. So whether that is clubs and MCC, our LGBTQ community commuters, international students, all that diversity that we do have on campus is just them celebrating their diversity and not so much the whole student body. So that's something we really want to, and I know it's a difficult thing to get a whole student body coming to an event like standing outside of the library and screaming at 9 o'clock at night, and going to something supporting a cause. So I think that is something worth stepping back, reevaluating, and really making strides towards that, how it can touch and be a part of our Santa Clara culture.
Just one more point off of that is getting in the same room as those people too, and really having those face-to-face interactions. I think email only goes so far, and that can be, you don't feel as much commitment to something if it's just on paper. So really like knowing the people that you're working with and understanding what they're after too is really important in that face-to-face communication.
Thank you, Frankie and Aaron. Paulette, Nick, would you like to do the question again?
Please.
Sure.
Okay. What do you think the biggest barrier would be to implementing your ideas, and how would you overcome that barrier? 2 minutes.
So this question, it's almost as if whoever wrote this question was really listening to our platform. Our platform, our mission of breaking barriers and building one community. I think the biggest barrier to implementing our ideas is almost our ideas themselves. We have this vision of getting the students to work together and getting more attendance at these events and collaboration on resources. So that will not be easy, and that will take a lot of hard work and a lot of brainstorming and a lot of innovation in trying to get students together. I do think a master calendar will help so students know what's going on. I also think if we make the events more personal and put a face to the event as opposed to just an email, and everyone knows the same people we get emails from weekly about different events, if we could vary that or somehow get students to see people as putting on these events and see the real purpose behind these events, maybe we can get more students involved.
I'd just like to touch on that people respond to incentives, and it's very difficult when there are not a whole lot of incentives besides emotional incentives, or we need concrete incentives. And I think that it's hard to, the barrier is that we need a way to get people engaged without saying, okay, well, if you do this, you'll get free cookies and like a back rub or something like that. But I think the biggest barrier is going to be getting everybody on board. Was there a second part to the question? I'm sorry.
How would you see the barrier you talked about, and how would you overcome that barrier?
So I would say,
Sorry.
no worries. I think Paulette really pretty much summed up everything that I would say, but just providing incentive to students that is going to make them feel really good, like I had said before.
Thank you, Nick and Paulette. Don't know who it's from. So I can say. Okay. 2 minutes per person. This is one of yours. And starting is going to be started last time. Okay, great. What is one change you have already made through a leadership position? We got 2 minutes.
So I think a big thing in APB this year is that I've implemented was our brand visibility. So we completely shifted our logo, completely changed our colors, and we got a lot of new marketing material and collateral to help us publicize that. And part of why we did it is because everyone thinks that APB is a part of ASG, which is great because ASG is a great organization, but we both have very separate important functions. And so I think in doing that, we gave ourselves our own voice and are able to program more effectively by getting our own feedback for our own programs. And so that's one change that I'm really proud of.
And my change that is still continuing is I'm currently on the board of directors with the Alumni Association. And one thing that they relayed to me when I applied for that position was they wanted a more involved student in order to give all 80,000 of them across the world information that's happening on campus because they want to feel connected once again. And I kind of filled in that void, not kind of. Filled in that void of information, and I give an update every month. I send out an email to all the alumni. I get constant feedback of people wanting to come and speak or come to an APB event, an ASG event, but they do want to come back. I feel that's something I have kind of set for the next person that takes my spot as that role, and really bringing alumni back to campus and showing what Santa Clara has to offer them and then giving back to Santa Clara.
Thank you, Frankie and Eric. All right, Paulette and Nick, again, the question is, what is one change you have already made through a leadership position? You have 2 minutes.
Well, not to relive the glory days of high school, but in high school I was student body president and was able to help my high school through a process of getting our Powder Puff feedback. So that was a fun change for me to see happen, and then to go back and see again at the high school level and see that still happening. But something on a smaller scale but relevant to Santa Clara is I was abroad in the fall, and when I came back I started serving on the community development branch. And as Nick mentioned earlier, we'd like to focus a little bit next year on relieving student stress levels. And so 2 of the things, one that I brought back from abroad and we were able to implement here was the primal screen. I don't know if any of you participated or got anything from it, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And then the other, school-wide Easter egg hunt. I don't know if anyone had 8 a.m.s on Thursday before Easter, but community development hid Easter eggs around campus with candy and stuff. So those are small things, but a small change to students' happiness levels and student stress levels.
I'd say that being a student at Santa Clara, you're already a leader, and that it starts with walking into your classroom the first day of every quarter and just embracing everybody in the class, embracing your teacher, and enjoying their presence. And I think that, as I said, with a foundation of every student here is a leader, that is my leadership position, is being a student. And a change I've made is that every time a new quarter starts, I walk into a classroom, I greet everybody, I greet my teacher, and I immediately form relationships with people around me that are open and make me a listener to them. So I think that the biggest change is just relating to people is what I've really tried to do.
Thank you, Paulette and Nick.